So tonight we're going to be talking about cooking made easy, because I know for some of you, if you don't have a mom that cooked or a grandma that cooked, it really is a foreign language and it can be very, very overwhelming. So we're going to give you some very, very simple things that you can do that will help you and encourage you and inspire you to really give this a try. I'm not a gourmet chef. I'm not a foodie. I like to prepare nutritious, healthy meals, but I don't like to spend hours in the kitchen. And I'm sure many of you don't either. And so that's what I'm going to talk about. The first strategy is cooking double. So when you make, like we just had shish kebabs this week. Well, I cooked 3 pounds of meat and we put it on the skewer. Basically, I cooked enough for several meals. So we ate dinner that night. We had some for lunch the next day. And then I packed up the rest for us to eat like a week later. So whenever you make a meal, just make double and then freeze the second amount in a glass baking dish, and you can either reheat that in the microwave or in the oven. But this way you've got it into the freezer, you mark it, and so you're not just cooking for today, you're cooking for all of next week or the week after.
What things do you cook double with?
Oh, you could do it with a pot of soup. You can make a
double, triple, quadruple.
Oh yeah, you can make a huge pot of soup, and that is either triple or quadruple depending on the size of your family, but you could easily pack that into smaller round plastic storage containers. Make sure you mark it and put it in the freezer. And the only way, Danielle, you're gonna probably have leftovers is if you cook a large turkey or a ham. And then during the winter months, I would cook 1 turkey a month. I'd make 1 pan of the meat and gravy, so we had that the following week, but then I'd also have leftover turkey meat, and I would make that into dishes. Did any of you know that poultry is interchangeable? So chicken and turkey can be interchangeable in your chicken recipes. We also buy the big shank hams at Christmas time. Now I would have leftovers when I cook that. Okay, the second strategy is going to be talking about preparing in bulk. If you have 15 pounds of ground beef, you bring it home and you prepare it into 5 meals. So basically you break it into 3 pound increments.
So this is if you found a killer sale.
Yes, a killer deal on ground beef. Could be ground turkey too. I might make 3 pounds of it into meatballs, and that's going to be more than 1 meal's worth. And the nice thing is you cook them, then you put them in the freezer bag, and you just pull out what you need for that meal. I've done sloppy joes because it will feed a real crowd. Tacos are another really fun one you can make ahead. I have on the website a recipe called one dish hash. And then tagliarini is another great one because that's with meat and pasta and cheese and tomato and green pepper.
So what you're saying is when you get a lot of ground beef,
right,
you could actually pre-cook the ground beef.
Yes.
So that when you go to use it weeks later,
that's true.
You just put it in the meal, mix in the other seasonings.
Yes.
Your meat is already cooked.
That's correct. So that's another fast way to just spend a couple of hours putting up a bunch of stuff and having it ready for when you need it. All right. So the third strategy for cooking is crockpot cooking. It is especially good in the summertime.
Oh yeah.
And so like even tonight, I tried a new recipe it was a big package of chicken breasts. Mm-hmm. So I put 2 in the crock pot and I put some wine, mushrooms, onions, lentils that I had pre-cooked, spaghetti sauce, and it was delish. It was delish. And then the other 2 chicken breasts I put in the crock pot and with a whole bunch of water, and they're boiling to make broth and cook the chicken. And I'm going to make those into chicken cashew tomorrow because I have a son-in-law that is crazy about chicken cashew. Okay, crock pot cooking. I wanted to show you this. It's in our book. It's on page 201. No. Let's talk about what I do with my crock pot, because I don't do a lot of one dish meals. I do some one dish meals. You can do pork or chicken with just barbecue sauce. Simply dump the barbecue sauce on and then have one of your starchy side dishes like corn or potatoes, and then also have a vegetable. Pork or chicken tastes absolutely to die for. Stir up and dump a jar of orange marmalade on top of them and cook them. It is so delicious. And once again, these are all in the book on page 201. This is the simplest thing you could ever do with meat in the crock pot. shake some garlic powder, some onion powder, some salt, and some pepper, and you're good to go. Everything tastes good with that on it. And then the other thing I have for pork or chicken is to do a sweet and sour. So I buy a jar of the sweet and sour sauce, put the meat in the crock pot, and here's where you can add a can of pineapple chunks. You can cut up some carrots, you can cut up some onions, you can cut up some green pepper, and you will have delicious sweet and sour dinner. Just cook some rice on the side, and it is so delicious. So that's the pork and the chicken portion. For beef, these are some of the things that I put in the beef. I talked about the garlic, onion, salt, and pepper. That's one way to cook it. I've done red wine and teriyaki sauce. Put that in the crock pot. Okay, I've done onion soup mix, a package of onion soup mix with yellow mustard. You put the yellow mustard on first, and then you put the packet of onion soup mix. That is phenomenal on beef brisket, and we have that recipe on the website too. And then sometimes I'll just put like cream of mushroom soup on some beef, and that's another thing that's easy. So really the sky is the limit for what you can do in the crock pot. Okay, the last thing we're talking about tonight is once a month cooking. Basically, the concept is that you cook, usually your meat is cooked ahead of time, and you put all your meals together. You put about 15 dinners together in one day. And the reason you can pull it off is it's economy of scale. And I have it in my book, the Cut Your Grocery Bill in Half book. It's on page 138. And it's cook less, save time, money, and salary with once a month cooking. So basically you start out your day with bags of cooked turkey or chicken. You have ground beef, hopefully that's cooked, and maybe ham that you've cooked early in the month, and you have ham in a bag.
Hold off now. Well, just a second, because I've heard some people go, I'm not doing that.
You didn't hear anybody.
I did. I could hear it. I heard a sigh like, you've got to be kidding me. Once a month?
When our kids were here and younger, it was a lifesaver. We've known people that have done it for once a week, once every 2 weeks, and they've said it's literally cut their grocery bill in half just by doing that.
We had one husband and wife who said that they had a very small kitchen.
Yes.
And she cooked in the kitchen.
Right.
Cooking stuff on the stove. And he went out on the grill and he grilled sausages, chicken breasts,
right,
and steaks.
And they said it was amazing because they did have food for lunch.
Right. And it took them about 3 or 4 hours.
Yes.
And they had all their meals for the week prepared.
Yes.
Stuck them in the refrigerator, and then it was just a matter of pulling them out.
That's right. Basically what this is, because you're making 15 meals, you may be chopping 15 onions or 10 onions that day. You may be, cooking carrots. I pull out my food processor for that day because there's a lot of chopping to be done. Same with everything else from green peppers and celery. And what was great is when we had to feed all the kids, they helped.
They did. Here's a picture of Joe peeling onions.
Yep. Usually one of the boys would go out and help Steve with house projects that day. And then the rest of the kids would be in here just chopping away.
That was Abby.
Yep.
She was peeling celery, getting ready to come. Joe was peeling onions. They were getting to him, and we had a gas mask.
So we put on a gas mask. So anyway, once a month cooking, when you first do it, can be daunting. And really when our children were very, very little, Steve would take the 2 kids to a park for the morning while I cooked.
My job was to seal up the meals, label them, and stick them in the freezer.
That's right. If you've got a lot of kids, I can't say enough wonderful things about once a month cooking. And we explain the whole thing here.
So 15 meals.
Yeah.
Those meals would last the whole month.
Yes.
And maybe longer.
Yes.
But we got it all done in one day.
Yes.
And that way, if you got sick or we had a busy schedule, she would plan to pull one of those meals out on the days when we were just running crazy, taking kids to lessons and things like that.
Okay.
Just about done.
So we're wrapping it up at Steve and Annette Economides from MoneySmartFamily.com. All of our tips are coming out of our Cut Your Grocery Bill in Half book. We're talking about cooking made easy, 4 ways to save time and money. The first one is to double what you make every day this week. The second one is to prepare in bulk. Your crock pot. We talked about cooking and the different sauces that you can use. We also talked about once a month cooking. And once again, Cut Your Grocery Bill in Half is where we're taking most of these from. And this is Annette.
I'm Steve.
Economides.
And we're glad you tuned in.
Yes, and we're from MoneySmartFamily.com.